Hello everyone, in this video I'll be giving you an OP Rivers of Blood Arcane build for an Elden Ring. So this is extremely powerful, as the Rivers of Blood is probably the best weapon in the game. Despite the nerfs, still extremely powerful. So I'll be going through the full guide here as we're leveling. This is a level 150 build, but if you're a lower level, don't worry, I'll be talking about which stats we want to prioritize. So ideally, we want to get our Vigor up to 30 first before touching any of the other stats, just for survivability's sake. And this weapon requires 12 strength to equip, so that might take a couple levels of leveling to put into there, and 18 dexterity. I went with 21 because that allows us to also equip the Eleanor's Pole Blade, which is another really great bleed weapon that you can switch it up with from time to time, because they do both scale off the same stats. Now, we want to put the rest of our points into Arcane. It requires 20 Arcane to be able to equip the Rivers of Blood, so get it up to that first. By the time you get the Rivers of Blood, you'll have more than enough levels to be able to get all three of these stats. And then on top of that, having your endurance upwards of, like, I would say 30 is a good number, but as long as you're able to medium roll with a poise of 56 or higher. So 51 is the minimum cutoff that you want to have for your poise that allows you to resist getting staggered by one hit, but 56 will allow you to take 2 small hits without getting staggered, so that's really nice if you're trying to attack. So try to at least get that 56 poise. Now, as for the rest of the stats, as we level, we want to get our Vigor up to about 50 by endgame. That's going to give you more than enough health to be able to survive. That gives us 107 or 1700 health there. I went with 26 mind. Having a little bit more mind is nice too, but I also have the Cerulean Amber Medallion there to give us a little bit extra FP, because we want to be spamming our Corpse Piler as much as possible. 30 endurance, but you can swap these numbers around depending on your medium load. You want to have always medium load. And having at least 15 faith, and I'll show you why, because there is some skill or some incantations that are going to be extremely powerful, such as Flame Grant Me Strength, and then also Dragon Rock Breath. So that can help us with taking out a lot of different bosses. And then having Arcane at around 65 at level 150, and you can go upwards of 80 and then put the rest of your stats in the Vigor, Mind, and Endurance. Now, as for the Talisman, I have the Lord of Blood's Exaltation. Blood loss in the vicinity increases our attack power. Alongside that, we also have the White Mask, which does the exact same thing. So every time that we trigger bleed, we're going to be dealing more damage. I also have the Cerulean Amber Medallion, but this is the weakest link. You can swap this out for whatever you prefer in terms of Talisman. I just like to be able to spam Corpse Piler a little bit more. The Shard of Alexander greatly boosts the attack power skills, so our Corpse Piler gets even stronger. And then the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman for the increased damage negation. A little extra bonus here, raw meat dumplings your Mimic can eat and heal themselves with without getting poisoned, so I like to always have these equipped if you're going to be using the Mimic. Don't use them yourself though. Now, as for the build, we want to be going at combat with Flame Grant Me Strength to start. It gives you a huge damage buff, so you can like two-shot a lot of enemies there. So that was 1200 damage with 2 swipes of the katana. And then if we use this, it does 1370. And it also builds up an incredible amount of blood loss. Once we get blood loss triggered, then we can do a ton of damage. So we'll try to get it to stagger or to set off on these enemies here, but they don't have enough health to be able to survive. So we just got our first blood loss there. And you can see our damage went up to 800. So we get a huge damage buff whenever we get that blood loss in the vicinity. So see the damage there is pretty good. A little bit different depending on where we're attacking from, but we'll always want to have our Flame Grant Me Strength up. Now I'm using a couple different spells as well here. So Swarm of Flies is a really good one. You can cast this and it actually staggers some of the bosses, especially some of the DLC bosses. They seem to be pretty weak to this. So you can see there, that's a really easy way to get your blood loss to be inflicted before even going into combat. So you can just go ahead and attack there. Oh, I almost went down. So yeah, typically you want to start combat with like your Swarm of Flies and then Corpse Piler on repeat. So Corpse Piler is our big damage skill, so you obviously want to be using that as much as possible because the blood loss damage that it can deal is incredible. But then we also have, as a backup, we got Dragon Ice here and Rock Breath. So what's nice about the Dragon Ice is you can use this to inflict Frostbite on a target, and then you can clear it off afterwards with your fire damage. So you can continue to stack the Frostbite on top of bleed. Now you can also equip something, the Yuji Katana, with a Frost Imbuement to give yourself that Frost damage if you want to swipe between them, because Frostbite will also deal a percentage-based damage similar to Bleed, so they actually stack pretty well together. But overall, the strategy here is just to be able to start off with the Flame Grant Me Strength, cast your Swarm of Flies before you get into combat, and then you can start with the Corpse Piler. And then it's just pressing L2, 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 L2 until everything is dead. It's a very powerful build. Oh, we got shredded there, but what's nice about this is bleed damage. Sometimes you don't even need a trigger to bleed damage, but when you do, it's going to chunk away the health of the enemy really quickly. So you can see there, yeah, that's 800 damage per swipe when we have both our Lord of Blood's Exaltation, which you can see at the top left there, alongside the Flame Grant Me Strength. So good amounts of damage, but what's also nice about this is we have utility, because we got like Rotten Breath here, so we can use this. And this will allow you to apply Scarlet Rot to the enemy, so if there's bosses that are weak to Scarlet Rot, you want to apply that to them, because that's just extra damage that you can get in on the enemy without even having to worry about it. If your Mimic is tanking the boss, pop off the Rot Breath. I highly recommend going with that strategy. And if they switch aggro to you, just kind of play it defensively till the Mimic takes aggro back. And then if you see that they have the Scarlet Rot inflicted, you can also go with the Dragon Ice. As a little bonus, I'm going to show you the Bale's Tyranny here. This is from the DLC, so this is a high arcane skill that you can use. It looks really cool, and you can see it shoves people around and deals a ton of damage. So that is not a bad one too if you want to have a little bit of fire and lightning damage alongside all of this. But yeah, we also have this Dragon Ice, which is really nice to have just for the huge area of effect that it hits, but also we can go in once they get Frostbite and clear it off and then apply it again. So this build covers multiple types of damage, but typically we want to be focusing on getting the bleed damage off, because that's going to be our highest damage overall. So there it is, Rivers of Blood in Elden Ring. This is one of the best weapons in the game by far. If you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below, and I'll see you all in the next video.